Velina mai kako, welcome to Keep It Aloha, a podcast that keeps aloha by quitting your job and sailing from Oregon to Hawaii with your cat. I'm your host Kamaka, and I've been on some fun journeys in my life, but none like the one our guest is on today. But before we introduce him, I gotta remind you to check out our website, keepitaloha.com, to get your favorite KIA merch. We got plenty of options, so hopefully you'll find something you like. But if you don't, and if supporting us financially doesn't work for you, please consider simply liking this video, subscribing to our YouTube channel, sharing it with your friends, or just leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It would mean the world to me. All right, let's introduce our guest.
After 175 years, some people still think we're just a ranch.
And we just farm all day.
What they don't realize is we wear many hats. And that's just how we roll. You just might see some old friends.
Or make some new ones.
So come hang with us
Drive on out to the country.
and get that epic snap.
No matter what you're looking for, come discover where legends are made.
Our guest today is a former tire company manager turned sailor from Oregon. Last year, he quit his corporate job of 11 years, liquidated his 401k, and bought a sailboat with the intention to sail 2,400 miles all the way to Hawaii. He departed Oregon on April 30th and after 24 days arrived in Hawaii on May 24th. He is the crazy guy who risked it all and is inspiring millions around the world to do the same. I am so stoked to talk stories with him today. His name is Oliver Widger. Aloha, Oliver. Welcome to the Keep It Low podcast. How you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me here.
Of course. Yeah. I appreciate you coming in. It's a far drive for you.
Yeah, no, it wasn't too bad.
Oh,
from Oregon? Yeah. Yeah, it was a long sail to get here, but yeah.
Super stoked just to see everything that you're doing. I feel like, for me especially, it resonates with me and millions, like, how we make these hyperbolic statement, like millions of people will be inspired. Millions of people have actually been inspired by your journey. So I just think what you're doing is great. And, thinking about it, this is only the first leg of what you're going to do. And it's already so crazy, right?
Yeah.
So before we get into all of it, I just want to start at the beginning, get to know you and your life story. Usually how we get to know people in Hawaii, we all start at the beginning. Where are you from? Where you grad? And what was it like growing up? And when we say where you grad, we're not talking about college. We always talk about high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was born in California, and I don't remember. Well, I lived there for like 2 years, and basically and then moved with my family to Washington, and then my parents got like a divorce, just like everyone else.
Just like
and then I basically spent most of my life in Oregon, living with my dad, and I graduated barely Clackamas High School. It was like a sympathy graduation. Like I had one of my teachers begged my other teachers to give me a passing grade so I could graduate. So if it wasn't for her, I certainly would not have graduated. But then from there I graduated, and then I started working immediately at the company that I worked for 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you went from school to tires.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
So what kind of stuff were you into growing up? Did you always have this dream of sailing since you were young, or were you into other stuff?
I was something that I watched a guy do it on YouTube, like I guess it was 4 years ago now. Yeah, I watched a guy sail from California to Hawaii. His name's Sailor James. And I saw him do it, and I was like, I didn't know you could do that, and I want to do that, so I did it. Or that's where it stemmed from.
So did you do like sports growing up, or I don't know?
No, I was a pretty dysfunctional teenager. And I did all the bad things, and I was just a dysfunctional human being as when I was younger, and that's So I didn't really do any sports. I don't know. I skipped a lot of class, and I couldn't do school. I was really bad. I mean, to this day, I could barely read and write, and didn't do.
So what was your hobbies? Just hood rat stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, through high school, that's pretty much it. Yeah, just yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
All right, so you ended up graduating high school barely, got this job, and then for about 11 years, was it?
Yeah, I was 11 years.
You worked there, and then what? You started from the bottom, and you just kept.
Yeah, I just
going?
like out of high school, I figured I was like the company I got hired on was like a company that where you can make a lot of money at the company, like more money than like a lot of money for a job where like you don't need any like college education because college wasn't an option. And so I like started working there, and I figured I was like, well, this is I saw the opportunity within the company, and I was like, well, this is this is as good as it gets for me, and this is what I'm going to do.
So that was your ceiling, right? You didn't know there was.
Yeah,
much more
I was
than
like,
that.
I just needed to, I had just got a girlfriend too at the time, and I was like, all right, well, what's the dream? It's the white picket fence and the house and the cars and a stable job. So I was like, this is my way to that. I was totally like content with doing that and like motivated to do that and live that life for about like 7 or 8 years. And so, for 7 or 8 years, I was like the star employee climbing the corporate ladder and like just brainwashed by it. And then ultimately, like I started getting like really bad neck pains for like years. And I just never went to the doctor because I don't like going to the doctor. But finally one day I was like, I like called a doctor. I was like, you guys need to like figure this out, because it was like a day after work where I had really bad neck pain. And so I went to the doctor, and neither of us really thought anything of it, and got some x-rays. And then the very next day I was at work, the doctor that I went and saw called, and she was like, what are you doing right now? And I was like, I'm at work. She was like, you need to come in right now. And so I left. I went to go see her, and I'm sitting there, and she's like looking at the computer, the x-rays, and then she was like looking at me, and then looking at the computer, and then looking at me, and she was like, I don't know how. She was like, I've done this for 20 years, and I've never seen anything like this. She's like, I don't know how you're here right now, not in like excruciating pain. And she said basically my neck looked like somebody who was like over 120 years old. And she didn't like handle the situation very well, because like she was an orthopedic specialist, so the complexity of the issue was out of her like realm. And she like put the fear in me, you know what I mean? Like she just said all the crazy things, all the wrong things.
She's like, don't panic, but she's panicking.
She wasn't saying don't panic. She was just panicking. And like, I and then from there I had to go see a neurologist. The problem with that was like, to the wait list to see a neurologist was like 4 months. And so like I went the following 4 months, just like after that day I left that doctor, my pain levels increased 100%, just because of my mind, like it's all like, and I learned, it took me a while to learn that, but I didn't handle it well at all. The pain level went up, and I just started becoming basically like a hypochondriac with it. And it's amazing how like you can truly invent pain and make it real.
Totally.
When it's not.
There's studies about that.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, even like, for example, like I would get like, I feel a little bit sick.
Yeah.
And something's wrong with my throat. And then my girlfriend's like, don't get me sick. Get me sick.
Yeah.
And I go to the doctor. I find out it's not even like an infection. It's just like I slept with my mouth open and the AC dried it out. And she's like, oh, I feel sick. And then I'm like, but I wasn't even sick, So stuff like that.
Yeah, it's wild how that happens. And then I saw like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 neurologists, and that was crazy experience as well, because they all did the same thing. They all like would look at the monitor and then look at me and then look at the monitor. It's just it was so weird to see these. Now these guys were like neurologists, so it's their wheelhouse, and basically like, so like that absolutely shook up my world. And like I went through like, I was like, from there, it was just like this slow, like kind of like rapid decline, as far as like mentally and like everything, because it just like threw the world in my face. And it was like, I started to think, I'd show up to work and I would have neck pain, and it'd be like a reminder. It's like, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? Like I'm just at work, I'm in pain, and I'm gonna do this. Literally, this is what's gonna like end me, is doing that, and that's all I'll have done in my life, is just worked a miserable job, and so I went. It obviously was at that point, it was like a secure job. I was making good money, And so I wanted to do something. I wanted to change my life, but I didn't know how. Because it's like, dude, I'm going to leave this corporate job, and then I'm going to have to get another corporate job that's also going to suck. I'm just going to make less money. You know what I mean? So I was in that, and I think people could probably relate to that feeling, because you want to leave your job, and it's like, well, I'm just going to go to another one. It's going to suck. And so I got stuck in this cycle. Like I'd never been really like a partier. Prior to that, I was pretty like straight and like just really focused on work. But like I started to like try and like escape in a way with like, I spent like probably 3 years like just partying every single weekend, just to like, I gave myself like, I excused it because this is being alive. I was just trying to find a way
It's like living for the weekend kind
to
of
be alive,
mindset.
to live. And it was obviously did not help at all, because I was going out and like doing all-nighters and doing all sorts of crazy dumb stuff. And then I would show up to work, like I'd be hungover for like a week, showing up to work. So like it would translate into work, and I would just be the worst human being on earth at work. And then that was like this weird cycle, and then I would feel guilty about how terrible of a job I'm doing at work, so it's just this decline. I did that. It was just this cycle I did over and over and over again. And I tried multiple things. Like I tried at one point, I almost got like with my buddy, a $1 million fourplex complex thing. We were like a day away from getting it, and he thankfully at the last second backed out, because I was just desperate, like trying to find a way out. But yeah, thankfully he backed out at the last second, because I would have hated it for sure. And that could have gone bad. And then I tried to open a gym at one point as well, and that didn't work. And I just tried to do multiple things, but all at the same time, I'm working like 70-hour work weeks and like violently hungover all the time. You know what I mean? So it's just like this super depressing cycle. And it was, and on top of that, constantly failing on trying to find a way out. And and then I watched that guy. So like around the same time of my neck diagnosis thing, my ex broke up with me too, so that's why I started going partying. She broke up with me, which is fine, nothing bad against her or anything. She's a good person and stuff, but so it was like this double whammy. And so just started partying. And then I'm gonna probably leave some stuff out here. I'm trying to like recall. I really actually talked about the full story in a long time.
This is what it's for. People like to do like long story short. We do short story long here.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'll make it long, that's for sure.
Yeah, just share. I'm sure we all love to hear it. And also just what you're sharing already, like you don't even know how many people have that same thoughts about, everything that you're going through, and just like maybe getting into some sort of escape, whether that's like video games, alcohol, drugs, whatever it is, you got to find some sort of escape. Here, we're lucky we got like surfing and hiking. Yeah. Our escapes can be a little bit more like healthy and positive, but there are the people that,
in Oregon, it's just raining all the time. It's
depressing.
Yeah. You don't want to go outside.
A lot of Hawai'i kids go to Oregon. I almost went to Oregon for college.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm from Hilo on the Big Island, and it's like, it rains the most days out of like anywhere in the U.S.
Yeah.
I think it's like there and like another place in Alaska.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
If you have a chance to go to the Big Island.
Yeah.
It has like...
I want to go to all of them.
Totally. Yeah. You should. Big Island is cool because it has like, I don't know what the number is, but like 11 of the 13 microclimates in the world. So you could go from like a desert to snow to lava to rainforest to all these things.
Cool.
Yeah. So if you ever get a chance.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
But so continuing on with your story.
Where was I? What was I saying?
You were just partying, girlfriend broke up with you.
So I did that cycle for 2-3 years trying to find my way out. Couldn't find the way out. And then I've only said this on one podcast in the very, very beginning. It was just a friend's podcast. So this might come as a surprise to everybody. But it's the part of the story, and it is what happened. And I'm not here to give advice. I'm not saying any of my advice is good advice. It's more than likely bad advice.
Advice of what not to do.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what it was. So like, I was super, super depressed over that course of those 2-3 years, like violently depressed, and just hated life. And to the point where I'd be in bed and I'd just be staring up at the ceiling, and I couldn't sleep because I hated life. So like just to give context of the state of mind I was in, there was no way out. I was trapped. I was miserable. And then I've always known the power of like mushrooms, and I've always known it was like a healing thing. And for my birthday, one of my friends gave me like an ounce of mushrooms, and I held on to the mushrooms. And then one day I got home after work, super depressed. Like I basically is like a Hail Mary attempt. I was like, I'm gonna eat this entire bag of mushrooms.
And you've never done it before?
No, I had done it before, but in
okay.
like the party scene, I've not ever
like
done it like
microdosing and
properly, you know, like with good intentions. But I'd only done it a few times prior to that, and but I've known, you know, it's like mushrooms are the only thing on Earth known to actually help treat depression, whereas all the medications and stuff just like suppress it or whatever. That doesn't actually treat it. And so I've known the power of them, and so I went into it with the intention of you know, help. And so yeah, I ate the entire ounce of mushrooms, and it was absolutely nuts. Like I was alone, and it was the craziest thing I've ever experienced. I've never experienced like absolute euphoria like that before. Like I literally like life all of a sudden made absolute sense. Like life made sense. Life made
This is all in
complete
color.
sense. It was so obvious, you know. And I came out of it like, life simple. Just do what you want to do, and that's literally it. Just do what you want to do. And then the problem I had was I realized after that as well. The problem I had is I didn't have purpose. That's why I was so miserable. And it was like, what's a ridiculous? So I didn't have purpose. I was miserable. So it was the next day. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So the whole sailing thing, I'd thought about it before 2 years prior to that, and tried to look into boats, and then psyched myself out and didn't do it. And so the following day, I knew that I was gonna, you know, I knew the secrets to life, but I didn't know what I was gonna do yet. And then I went to work, and one of my customers that came in was wearing a blazer that had a sailboat on it, and I just looked at him and I was like, "Oh, do you sail?" And he was like, "No, I used to build boats." And I was like, "Oh, that's super cool. My dream is to sail around the world." And this guy's like 90 years old, and he like stops and he looks around like the room, and he was like, "Well, what are you doing here?" And I was like, my mind exploded, you know. And then there was at that moment I was like, I'm sailing around the world. And so the following day after that, I took my brother convinced me to take a video to document it. So that video that you saw that went viral, the first half of that video is where I'm in like my shirt, I'm in the car, I'm like, I absolutely hate this life. That's only the first bit of that. That video is like a 3-minute long crash out video. And I had no intentions of posting it, but my brother convinced me to just start documenting everything. I'd never used Instagram or TikTok. I didn't know how any of that stuff worked. So I had a TikTok, and I uploaded that video as a draft, and I accidentally posted it twice after that, and it turns out that TikTok syncs with everybody in your contacts. So that video went to every single one of my bosses, and they all saw the video. And keep in mind, this is like 3 days after taking the mushrooms, day after talking to that guy.
Sounds like a fun movie.
Yeah, dude, it was and in the video, I'm like, it's the cringy. It's still all of my stuff from the day I quit my job is still on my TikTok. I'm never going to take it down.
I looked at some old stuff. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
I like watching it. I like to go through, because you can see it's just
the
this
progression.
crazy evolution. Of me as a person, and then also obviously the video editing and stuff.
Yeah. Hair getting longer, facial hair coming out.
Yeah, it's cool to keep on there. But so I go to work, and then I have one of my techs come up to me, and he was like, and I don't know this video's been posted, you know, and he was like, "So when are you gonna buy that boat?" And I was like, and at work I never really, no one really knew how violently depressed I was, and so but yeah, one of my texts came up to me. He was like, "When are you gonna buy that boat?" And I was like, "What boat?" He's like, "The sailboat." I was like, "Dude, what are you talking about?" And and then it like clicked, and I went and checked, and it had like 2,000 views or something. And I was like, "Oh shit!" And so I called my boss, and I was like, "Have you seen the video?" He's like, "Everyone's seen the video." And I was like, in the video, I said in my uniform, I was like, I just spent like $10,000 on drugs. Like it was a crash out video. And
I didn't see that part.
yeah, it's the first video on my TikTok, and it's brutal. But so I was like, "Am I fired?" And he was like, "Well, we're gonna have a meeting about it. We're gonna. He was like, go back to work. Continue the rest of your day working. We're gonna have a meeting about it. By the end of the day, we'll let you know what we decide to do." And I was like, "I'll fucking make it easy for you." And I just hung up the phone. And after 11 years, I walked out. I just left. I didn't say anything to anybody, and I just
And you
left.
never talked to anybody since
No,
then?
I talked to some of the guys. Some of the
okay.
guys were like, I've been there for 11 years. Some of the guys were like, I view them as like kind of like family.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? And but yeah, I left with no plan. I was like $10,000 or something in debt. Rent's due.
Yeah.
I was totally screwed. And I had just decided I was going to sail around the world a day prior to that, And so I had no idea what I was going to do. But then I had the great idea of just like liquidating my 401k. And I liquidated my 401k and then a week after quitting. And I had no money. And I knew I was going to buy a boat. I didn't know how to buy a boat, what boat I was going to buy, but I started selling everything in my apartment. So after like 2 weeks, I was in a completely empty apartment, just like laying on the floor, and finally found my boat. And I had looked at a bunch of boats. I used that time to look at boats. Looked at a bunch of boats, and got my boat and moved on. And yeah, and
then that's
and
when-
then yeah, that's and then I got another job for about 6 months that I got fired from because I didn't do my job. All I did, I would show up because at that point I was like, I'm all in on this.
Hyper-focused,
I'm all
yeah.
in on this, and on social media and the boat, and there's absolutely nothing that was going to stop me. And but I had to get another job to help outfit the boat. So I literally would show up to work for like 8 hours a day for the entirety of I didn't have any bosses. The way the job was set up, I didn't have any bosses there. So I would spend the entire time editing, learning how to edit videos for 8 hours a day, every single day. That's how I learned how to do social media was that. And then obviously they caught on that I wasn't selling tires after like 6 months, and they fired me. And then when they fired me is when because my plan was to sail from Oregon to Hawaii was going to be May 2026. So later. But 6 months in, I had done more work to the boat than I anticipated, and I had done more learning how to sail than I anticipated. And what was I going to say? And so like at that, I made a video, and I was like, in the video, I was like, I'm going to get fired at the end of the month, because I just knew. Like, I'd been in the world, and, I knew exactly what the flat signs were. And they had, like, written me up, like, 7 times. And I was like, I'm going to get fired at the end of the month. When I get fired, I'm gonna sail my boat down to the Oregon coast, because I was on the Columbia River in Portland. And I'm going to sail my boat down to the Columbia, Oregon coast, and I'm going to spend the next 6 months not sailing at all and just doing a refit, because I'm going to hit this deadline, because there's weather windows that you have to hit in order to cross safely. And I took the video, and I did it. It worked.
Yeah.
So I spent once I got fired, I sailed down to the Oregon coast, and I literally didn't speak to a single soul for the entire 6 months. I was completely isolated, and like the marina I was on had like 1 or 2 liveaboards that I never saw. So it was literally just me and my cat. And I spent 6 months every single day, 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, working on my boat and doing social media with no money. And I was like using credit cards and like just getting really weird with it. And
eating ramen noodles every day.
dude, it was straight up, it was rice, beans, and mac and cheese. It's what I ate for basically a year straight. Yeah, so
That what's super cool about hearing all of this is social media, it's for the highlights, right? We see the success, and most people probably joined as you were sailing to Hawaii. That's when you grew your following. But to hear all of this, to hear all the work that you had to put in before this, I think that's really important for people to hear, right? Because it's not an overnight success.
No, it's not easy.
You prepared, luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah.
And, you prepared, you came in at the right time, and you did it, and people loved it.
Yeah.
But I'm just super stoked to hear all the hard work and the dedication that you put in, to get where you're at, because you deserved it. You earned it.
An obsession.
Yeah.
It was the only way to do it in that time frame. It was like I just completely isolated and it was an obsession. And between social media and learning, because what's crazy if you think about it, I didn't know anything about sailboats, I didn't know anything about social media, and I did both of these things at the exact same time. I was learning both of these things, still learning both of these things. But, and working on them. I didn't know how to work on a boat, but I became like a diesel mechanic, an electrician. I became a plumber. I became a fiberglass expert. I became a sailor, navigator. Social media, and so I was doing all these things. Yeah, I was doing all these things at the exact same time. And, it was so much stuff that it was crazy. It was totally unhealthy. But
no, so I mentioned to you before we started, how much your story resonates with me, because I kind of did similar, but not, instead of getting the 9-to-5, I didn't do the 9-to-5, and I paid off $50,000 student loans by doing over 300 odd jobs, dressing up as Buzz Lightyear for kids' birthday party, putting up installation in a house, and I didn't know how to do that, and babysitting, recycling, all these crazy things, because I wanted the freedom, because the things that hold us back are, usually debt.
Yeah.
Right. And the fear of not having stable income. So I didn't get a regular job. I just asked people, what can I do to help you help me?
Yeah.
I'd get calls from random people, texts from random people, emails from random people, go out to the boonies and just do a random job. And I'm like, I could maybe just get killed right now.
Yeah.
Right? You're about to head to somewhere after this and you've never seen the person before. You're like, I might not come back. But I think having that trust in others and the kindness of people, knowing that you will be supported and taken care of, I think that's really cool. And I'm really happy that you got to come to Hawaii for your first time to really, experience the aloha that we have here. I mean, you had an amazing welcoming. You have so much support here, and probably too much that you don't even see it because you have too many notifications.
I feel bad because there's so many people.
And don't worry about it because, aloha, of course we love when it's reciprocated, but it's all about what you give, So we're giving you this stuff. We give you a lei. We don't expect another lei back from you.
Yeah.
We offer help, and we just want to help people because when we come here, it's all ohana, it's all family, And I think that's so cool that you got to come here for the first time and really get the best welcoming ever.
Yeah,
and,
thank you.
And it's cool because you get to go to all these places. Hawaii's first on your trip. But you're going to get to go to all these places and stay there for a month or however long at a time, depending on the weather window, and learn about the cultures and everybody here, hang out with locals. And I think that's the coolest journey
that's the dream
that you're on. And I feel like you'd be a perfect Peace Corps volunteer, I don't, have you ever heard of the Peace Corps?
I wanted to do it when I was younger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was in Madagascar for 3 years after college.
Cool.
And so I was just volunteering there, just I'm sure days on the boats where you're just bored, nothing to do, talking to no humans, and you're just wondering, what am I doing with my life?
I was the whole time I knew I was signed up for, and there were moments that were absolutely terrifying, but
it's part of the experience.
But I was, So.
I just wanted to share a little bit about that because I really, really resonate with your story. So when you had everything figured out, you learned how to sail basically in a river, never been on the ocean. You just took this chance and you decided to, document every day going from Oregon to Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that day leading up to that? The nerves, fear?
You could see in the 4 videos or whatever before I left, the 4 days before I left, those videos that I was so sickly nervous about it. I was so nervous, and you could see in the videos I'm shaking, because I was just so nervous, and all the things I'd done to the boat, I did because I did it all in kind of a pretty unorthodox way. Usually people spend years doing it and years learning and years, And I just did everything the best I could, and I was super nervous. And I couldn't sleep the night before, and but I woke up. So I woke up, and I had to, so the first like hour of my passage is the most dangerous part of the passage because I was on the Columbia River, and there's a river bar there that's called the Graveyard of the Pacific, and it's the most dangerous river bar in the entire world. And that was my first test, was crossing that river bar. It takes like an hour to cross.
Straight boss level the first time playing the video game, right?
Yeah, seriously.
Expert level.
And so like that was like crippling scary. And so I'd never sailed that early in the morning, so I had to time it for the correct slack tide to cross. And when I left, I'd never experienced as much current as it was like 8 knots of current. So the super fast current that I'm going with. So I realized obviously immediately that I was gonna be there way too quick. So from when I left my marina to when I crossed the bar, I literally I got out the marina, realized the current was too quick, and I turned the boat around and I sailed backwards down the river the entire time because I was going so fast. So I had to slow the boat down. So I literally I was sailing backwards, but the current was so strong that it was like I was sailing forward, but the current was so strong I was going only like a knot backwards. So the whole time, I sailed backwards down the river, and then when I got to the bar, turned around and then crossed the bar. Yeah.
Did you at any point were you just like overwhelmed and wanted to give up, or were you so focused that you were just like nothing's gonna stop me?
Was like, nothing's gonna stop me. I mean, I was terrified. Like I had all the doubts and stuff, but I was like, I just had to keep telling myself that whatever happens, like I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out.
Yep.
And you know, there are things that can go wrong, so wrong, especially on a river when you're that close to land with that much current crossing the bar. That like there's. It's just a part of it was just a leap of faith that that everything will work out.
Yeah.
And but yeah, and then as soon as I crossed the bar, my anxiety went down a lot, and I was like, all right, and I could see I was in the ocean for the first time.
You're like whales,
And
dolphins,
yeah,
jellyfish, sunset.
It was awesome.
And then rudder.
Yeah, so that was the scariest moment for sure, was when the rudder failed. And that was on day like 5. Yeah, that was terrifying because it was the height of the storm that I was in. And or it wasn't really like a storm, but it was 38 knots of wind, so it was the height. It was the most wind I experienced, and the swells were really big. And I was doing a repair on my 2 of the battens in my mainsail that like keep the sail rigid. They popped out, and then one of the cars that takes the mainsail up also popped out. And so I was right in the middle of repairing that. So my sails were in like a vulnerable position. And then my rudder failed, and it locked hard to starboard, so hard to right. And then that put the boat with the beam to the side of the boat to the waves. And so the boat literally it was like 4 hours I was trying to figure this out, and like the boat would literally rock from here to here. Yeah. And
so like a little bit more would have turned over.
It wouldn't have flipped over in those conditions because the keel under the boat is this giant lead weight. Basically, so that's what keeps the boat from flipping. But in worse conditions, if you go sideways to the waves, you'll flip. But I mean, the waves were huge. Like like they were big. Like I would look up at the waves, and then when the boat would rock over, like there's the lifelines that are here, and like so the water would be coming into the lifelines. So like I would be on the boat looking like horizontally at the
I have
ocean,
anxiety,
and then immediately goes over to the other side, and it's the same thing. But I had to I have no choice. There's, so I jumped down in the. At first, what you can do when you have rudder failure is you get a bucket and you throw it over the side, the opposite side or whatever, and it can steer the boat right. And so I had a bucket and it was filled with fishing lures. So I grabbed the bucket and I throw it down the stairwell, down the cockpit hatch. And I grabbed the bucket, throw the bucket over to try and straighten the boat out, and it didn't work. And then so I hopped down in the engine room where the rudder quadrant is. But I'm like literally getting thrown from one side to the other in this room. And every once in a while, the rudder quadrant would would slam to the other side. So whole rudder would slam, and I could see it chipping away at the fiberglass. And if you lose the rudder, that's how you sink a boat. And because it's a massive hole in the boat. So if that post goes, the boat sinks. And so I saw that. I was like, that's not good. And I was also worried about getting my finger caught between the cable and the quadrant, so it would just take my finger straight off. Because every once in a while it was slamming. The whole thing was slamming. And so I tried to put the cables back on, but there was not enough tension. So I managed to, before I got it, I got so like the most sick I've ever been in my entire life. And I think it was a combination of just sick with fear and then like legit seasickness as well because of so much movement. And so I knew I had to take a break. So I get out of the hatch and I go down the stairs, and all of a sudden I start stepping on all these fishing lures that I had dumped down the stairs earlier. And that sucked. And then I got in my bed, my bunk, and I just laid there, and I just for 15, 20 minutes, I just laid there just to try and settle myself and calm myself down. And then I went back in, and I was able to do a temporary fix, and I lashed the two cables together and was able to straighten out the rudder. And then, yeah.
That has to do something for your confidence, right? When you're put in these situations.
I don't know, man. It humbled me for sure. Yeah, it makes you realize how incredibly, if something breaks in the wrong moment, it took everything to fix it. You know what I mean? So something breaks in the wrong. It was it was a humbling and reminder that it is no joke. You know what I mean? So I don't know that it boosted my confidence.
Well, I mean, in the fact that you can get through anything. I mean, there's fight or flight, right?
Well,
you didn't fight.
Right.
You fought.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's it just made me much more aware of the whole. I was aware, but when you experience. I was aware things could go very wrong, but when you kind of experience it, it can get way worse than that. If it was 50 mile per hour winds and 20 foot, 30 foot swells, seas, the boat would have rolled and it would have been over. There's nothing you could do at that point,
Well, I'm happy you're still alive with us.
Yeah.
So what kind of things did you do when, the things that we didn't get to see on camera and documented? Were you watching movies, TV shows, reading books?
No, I spent a lot of my downtime. So between, obviously a lot of the time I spent managing the boat and navigating and managing the sails. But the rest of my downtime I spent editing videos and stuff. So I didn't do any really reading or anything. I was making the videos and I was filming for YouTube as well. So I was doing both of those things, which was a lot of work.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I mean, I would just there were times though that I'd sit outside every sailor's worst fear is falling overboard. So it's sometimes I'd just sit outside and be looking and dude, it's just so I would keep thinking about it.
Intrusive
exactly. All it takes is me just falling overboard, and then you just watch the boat. I would imagine watching the boat sail away and go through those emotions. How would that feel? It'd be crazy. But I was always clipped in for the most part with my harness clipped into the boat. But that's where that's what gets sailors is the biggest issue for solo sailors is sleep deprivation, because sleep is hard to figure out how you're going to sleep. And sleep, people get really tired, and then there's a storm or rudder failure, and then you're already sleep deprived, you didn't sleep, and you forget to clip in, and then something happens and you just slip and fall over the boat, and that's how it gets you.
Wow.
So
I would be afraid just to go to sleep, and then just all the anxiety of something's gonna happen, and
I had
nobody's watching anything.
I had all that anxiety, because the boat makes so I'd only sailed the boat on the river, and it wasn't the river's fine, but out in the boat was making noises I didn't think the boat was capable of, and I would sit there and it's people think crossing this an ocean. I feel a lot of people think it's this calm and peaceful
boat ASMR ocean.
Thing. Yeah, dude, it's chaos inside the cabin. It's chaos. Everything's cracking and creaking and slamming, and every once in a while there's this rogue wave that'll come from a different angle, and it'll feel like you're running into a brick wall. You know what I mean? There's some times where I legitimately thought I hit something in the water. and like I had to get out and like look around, but it was just a crazy wave that just timed perfectly and slammed the side of the boat, and it's literally like running into a wall, and like the whole boat, like you get jerked, and but yeah, so yeah, it was intense.
Yeah, and that was only just like a week into
yeah, so that was a week
sail,
into
right?
it, and so yeah, I was like, this is, what have I done?
Yeah.
What am I doing? But
Yeah, and then you made the next couple days or weeks. You ended up on 24. Kobe Bryant, shout out the King Mamba.
I ended up on Kobe Bryant.
24.
24.
You took 24 days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was 25 total.
Oh, it's 25?
Yeah, 25 total.
Okay.
Yeah.
I looked online, it said 24.
Yeah.
So Google's not always right, people.
Yeah. That's crazy. It's on Google.
Yeah, I just said April, what was it, like 30th to like mid 24th?
I left the 29th, I think.
Oh,
I had
okay.
to leave a day early.
Can't trust Google
Yeah.
anymore. Yeah. All right. So you took about 25 days to get there, and it was interesting because you had Starlink, right? The technology we have these days, you know, you can be connected to people. So it's not like you had no contact with anybody.
Yeah.
You were sailing by the stars or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you had connection to things. So how did that affect your experience of like sailing?
I think the whole time I had this like massive guilt of being connected to the outside world, because you read about all of the. I'm very far from the first person who's ever done it, and so many other sailors have done so many more cool things than I have. I'd say the majority of sailors have done cooler things than I have, but you read about all your like heroes and all these guys, and none of them use Starlink, and all of them talk about their experiences, and it's so pure, and they're all like borderline begin to like go into, because isolation is like the worst thing for a human. And like I know this one guy, Jerome Rand, I went on his podcast. He's just a super cool guy. Nobody knows about him. He doesn't have a big account or anything, but he sailed around the world nonstop, and it took him 279 days,
wow.
and he had no Starlink or anything. And like you hear the stuff that he said, like he borderline went insane, and you get so in tune with your environment in the boat. I felt like the Starlink was like pulling away from that, so I did feel incredibly guilty. And I think in the future I'll for sure do a passage where I don't bring the Starlink, just because I want to experience it for real. You know what I mean? So
I think there's time. So when I joined the Peace Corps, I was like super set on not talking to anybody. I'm gonna be so isolated. I'll talk to people every couple months, and I get there, and then to give you this SIM card where you can it has like a Facebook Messenger stuff, so you can talk to people.
Yeah.
And then I went to the same thing where it's like, do I want to be connected to people? And even like I got a regular phone, so I didn't use my iPhone. And I said, I'm just going to use this for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I think about like a week into having to type on T9.
Yeah.
The old school phones, you're like, just to type it one letter. I was like, okay, no, I didn't do that. And I just went back to it. So I know that guilt that you're feeling. But I think no matter what, there's still other challenges, besides just being connected. Like,
I don't know. It's when you cross like an ocean, it's a time to be like, I think without the Starlink and the connection, because it worked extremely well. Without it, I would have been much more present in it. And I wanted to experience that for sure. But I brought it because the goal has always been I never in a million years thought I was going to go as viral as I did. But like the goal has been to have social media fund my expedition around the world. That has been the goal. So I did it with the intention of that. So I was like, I'm going to bring it,
Yeah, smart. I mean, it's a good business move as well.
And I think the part of the reason why I went viral is because I don't think there's really been any Starlink's being able to cross an ocean with 100% like Wi-Fi the entire time is like a relatively like that's only like I think it was a year or 2 years ago was that possible, and I haven't really seen anybody do it. So I think that's when I posted it's day one of this many days, like people could see we're going to see the journey live stream. So I think that's part of the reason why it because people wanted to see if I made it.
Yeah. No, I think one of the big reason that people started following you is because you're an ordinary guy.
Yeah.
That people see you, they see themselves
less than ordinary.
And extraordinary. But you're very authentic. You're very yourself. You're like, I'm a little awkward, a little social anxiety, but like so everybody here, like,
Yeah.
you know what I learned the most about doing these podcasts with people who have like millions of followers, 10,000 followers, no social media. We all have flaws. We all have anxiety.
Yeah,
We all
yeah.
have, make mistakes, and we're all just the same.
Yeah.
So I think, you spoke to so many people just being your authentic self that people really just felt seen.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you're doing. And I speak for a lot of people where say authenticity is the number one thing that draws people in.
Yeah.
And there's not another Oliver Widger on this
No.
on this planet. And I think that's why you're so loved.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I don't have I've tried to be inauthentic. I don't have it in me. Like
Yeah,
I can't do it. Like, yeah. And I'm the last person on earth literally to post on social media, but it was just that one video that I posted was everything. Cause like, the one that went to my bosses. Cause once that happened, I was like, well, everybody knows about that. That's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me in my life. And I was like, I'm just going to double down and I'm just going to go for it. And like, so I just kept doing it. And it was humiliating. Like, everybody thought I was crazy. Like people were messaging me, like somebody was like, are you like bipolar? And I just kept, I allowed those, comments to like penetrate in a way. Cause like I felt it and I just wanted to like, I wanted to show, how people like take the like counts off on their social media. I left my like counts on always. Cause I like to feel it. You know what I mean? I like to feel the failure and the embarrassment.
That's how growth happens.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. And so, yeah, everyone thought I was crazy, but
yeah,
I am crazy a little bit for sure.
I mean, so am I. I mean,
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
stuff that's against the norm, to trailblaze, you got to be a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to mention before we get into our break and get into social media questions. Did you know about the history of like Hawaiian Polynesian navigation before coming here?
I'm not like in depth,
Yeah.
but I've heard about it. And
Yeah,
stuff.
but it's cool that this was your
Yeah.
first destination.
Yeah.
Another layer because,
Yeah.
Hawaiians, Polynesians were the ones that, invented the navigating by the
Yeah.
stars and traveled the entire world just going off of like the conditions,
it's
nature.
So crazy to think about too, like being out there. There's been people that have gone out there without knowing what's next.
Right.
And dude, if I was out there, because I was trying to put myself in their headspace, and it's like, dude, I would be out there thinking, I'd be like, this doesn't end. This does not end. You know what I mean? We're just gonna die.
Yeah.
Out here, and it's so crazy to think about that people just did that.
Or the people that thought the earth was flat.
Yeah,
And then if
and
they went,
you didn't know if you were gonna fall off.
Exactly.
And that's just insane, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
I don't know if this is right, but I heard it recently that, why they're called like native or like American Indians or something like that is because when people were sailing to America, they thought they landed in India.
Oh, really?
And that's why, because they don't know where they're going, right?
So that's where
why,
it like it clicked, I guess.
yeah, that's why they call them like the Native Americans are like Indians.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's interesting.
I think somebody can fact check me on that.
Yeah.
And even like, people sailed here, discovered Hawaii, named it the Sandwich Islands. And,
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then now it's Hawaiʻi and all this stuff. So a lot of cool history. And the hokulea is this canoe, that double-hulled canoe that was really famous in our history. That was the first boat to travel like across the world with some of these like awesome sailors and just like using the stars to navigate. So I think that's another reason why the Hawaiians over here were extra like curious about your journey, because like you said, you're not the first one to do it, but I think the way you did it, and in this modern era of like going to a corporate route and just like ditching everything just to follow your passion, I think again, just so awesome and so proud of you.
Man.
All right, so you ended up landing in Hawaii, experienced so many cool things. That boat, that airplane drop that brought you the stuff.
Crazy.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how you scooped it up.
I don't know how I did either, honestly. I didn't think it was going to happen.
Yeah. And then you had an awesome welcoming. And so, just share a little bit about like the ending of your journey when you finally reached Hawaii.
It was surreal, man. Like I sailed through like a wormhole. You know what I mean? Like when I left, no one knew about me. And I sailed through a wormhole and landed in a different universe. Like, dude, it's these two crazy things that happened at the exact same time. These two things that I've been trying so hard to make work, crossing an ocean and social media. both of it happened at the exact same, on the first day that I left to cross an ocean, to leave a river for the first time. I went viral. I had these two insane things happen at the same time. And it was crazy. Like going viral is like a crazy thing, but crossing an ocean is also a crazy thing. And they're so different things. You know what I mean? And so yeah, it was like I sailed into a wormhole and arrived in another universe.
The multiverse of Hawaii.
Yeah. It was insane, man.
Yeah.
And the love I got from everybody it's crazy. I feel like a strong amount of like imposter syndrome because there's so much love from people, and like, I don't know. I don't want to like, I don't know. It's something that I'm like having to navigate and really just think on, because I obviously want to always be authentic, but you could see where, like fame and like money. I'm not saying I'm like famous or anything, but like, like popularity and like money and like, and all of that stuff like corrupts minds. You know what I mean? And so it's really important to me to like just stay as grounded. I don't need much. You know what I mean? I just need the boat, my cat, and I got here with what I have, and I can do it again with what I have, and I'm incredibly like fortunate. But I don't know. I feel guilty because, one, obviously, so many sailors have done so much more and so much crazier things than I have that haven't got the amount of attention I got, and so I feel guilty about that. And then, I don't know. I'm very fortunate, very very happy, and the love has been unreal. And it's unreal. Like,
Well,
I was like, I had to, when I was coming in and I saw all these boats coming out to greet me, I had to like lock in because I started to get super emotional. And I was like, dude, I'm not there yet. How bad would it be if I smoked a kayak on the way in? Because there's kayaks everywhere.
Or there's like a dolphin or like a turtle, and everyone's like, the turtle.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. So I was like, I had to like, couldn't let my tears come out because I had to just lock in, and I had to get to the dock.
Yeah.
And but it's such a cool experience, man. Like, yeah, yeah, and like, there's like, obviously, I do have like, I'm learning, I'm getting better, I think, but I am like not a very social person. I've always been very like kind of keep to myself. I'm like an extrovert, introvert, but I am always, for the most part, like always very kept to myself, and people were. I saw online some people were getting upset about how overwhelming the welcome was, and it wasn't like the way I view it is like, dude, like, it's like when people see me on the street and some people come up to me and they're nervous to like take pictures and stuff, and it's like, dude, if you see me, come take like, I'm here, I'm living my dream because of all of you, because of everybody. So the least I could do is, say what's up and take a photo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So don't, I don't know if you're watching this, you see me on the street, feel free, whatever, to come say what's up, and I'll say what's up.
That's a great mindset, and good you have that gratitude.
Dude,
one of the greatest things I've heard about being like extroverted and introverted is because I'm similar. I'm like ambivert, where it's just like I love my alone time. That's why I love the one-on-one conversations. I don't like crowds. I don't like
right.
me and my girlfriend, we're homebodies. We stay home, watch anime, and my socializing is done through work like this, and going through events. But one thing I heard was that a lot of people think that they're introverted, but they're not. They just love their peace. Yeah. So you're extroverted around people that bring you peace.
Yeah, right.
So it's the people that bring you peace, like your friends, your cat. You're extroverted around them, and you feel more comfortable. Yeah. You recharge around those people, but then you also probably recharge when you're just alone. Just like after this, I'm just like, I like to veg out.
Yeah, after this I'll be fried.
Exactly, right? It's like, this is the most talking I did in like all day. But yeah, I think just like that's all we want is just peace. Yeah. And we want to be around the people that bring us peace. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Right on. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Kalea Hop Water is a sparkling, hop-infused beverage with bright, tropical flavors and the refreshing essence of island life. With 0 alcohol, 0 carbs, and 0 calories. Kalea brings aloha in every bubble.
All right, we're back from a quick shishi break. Mahalo to our drink sponsor, Kalea Sparkling Hop Water, for providing the best quality shishi. If you're new here and you don't know what shishi is, that's just what we say for a P. So that was our little P shishi break. All right, let's get into the social media fan questions. First question comes from Faith Rogers. My lovely girlfriend. I had to put her first because she loves Phoenix. I was like, you want to come to the podcast? She's like, is Phoenix coming? No, I was like, okay, I'm good. She's like, I just want to meet the cat. So she says, how does Phoenix like to spend her time on the boat?
I think she's like a calico, so her personality is pretty just like chill. She loves to sleep, and she loves to like when I'm on the boat with her. I let her out at like in the evening. Well, I let her out in the daytime. It gets too warm outside, so she just stays inside. But at night, she likes to come out and we walk around the dock sometimes, and which has become a bit of an issue because like she'll jump on another person's boat. And I'm not gonna like get on another person's boat, so I'm sitting there like trying to call her back, and that could be problematic. But I can't get. I spent like 3 years trying to walk her, and it is impossible. She'll spend if I try to put like a collar or a harness on her, she'll spend the whole time trying to get it off. So I just have to like walk her.
Okay.
Without one.
Right on. Next question comes from P Funk Love. Past podcast guest Paula Funga. She's one of like a huge musician here. Have you gotten any? Have you listened to any like local music yet?
Of some,
yeah,
but I can't. I'm really bad at like names and remembering things.
Paula Funga, you gotta check her out.
Cool.
She says, "What other Hawaiian islands do you plan to sail to, and how long will you stay in Hawaii?"
I want to sail to all the islands, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly how long I'm going to stay in Hawaii because obviously it all comes down to the weather windows. And from what I can tell, it seems like the end of March will be when I leave because I gotta. There's cyclone season here.
So you
yeah, I'll be here for a while.
Oh, for like a year?
Yeah, 10 months, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, our new resident here.
Yeah. So I plan on spending time at all the islands. I've got to do a lot of work to the boat. But yeah, so I'm still working on. So it's not a definitive time. Like it's complicated to try and figure out. What everyone has a different. Idea of when the appropriate time to cross is, and so I'm just still working on that. But it sounds like the end of March.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, that's cool that you're gonna be here. So people might see him out in the island.
Yeah, I mean, I could leave within the next 3 months, but it would have to be within the next 3 months.
Yeah, if not,
and so I'm in no rush to sail around the world. You know what I mean? So Hawaii is somewhere where I don't need there's no visa issues and stuff. So if I'm happy to spend 10 months here and kind of enjoy life a bit.
Yeah.
And then move on.
All on your boat?
Yeah, I live on my boat. Yeah, so it's home. Yeah.
Cool. What was I gonna say? I was gonna ask something about you sailing. I forget, maybe it'll come back to me after. All right. Next question comes from Yo_Brian. This person says, ultimate goal in life other than sailing around the world.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
No, that is the goal.
Yeah, I was like, I literally, I guess I wanted to mention this too. Like when I like the thing where I got like, experienced a lot of freedom was like when I came to terms with being poor for the rest of my life and dying poor. That's what gave me freedom, and so like that, once I made that, like I accepted that. And so I'm still in a way like in the same like mindset. It's like that's it. I'm just gonna, I don't have any big grand. I don't need I just want to sail around the world, and then when I'm done with that, I'll probably do it again. Or I'll go to places that I like really liked.
Yeah. Life is simple.
Yeah, it is simple.
You don't need much.
Less is more.
Exactly. I mean. That's what the perspective you have of like living in other countries and seeing poverty. Like,
yeah, right.
But I'm just like, even running water is such a luxury that we have, Like when I remember watching a video, you're like, oh yeah, I've been a couple like days or weeks without showering. What was your longest time you went without showering?
Oh yeah, like 2 weeks, I think.
Okay, mine's just 10 days when I was in the Peace Corps. Because we take bucket baths. Yeah. So, you don't always want to.
Yeah. Well, 2 weeks without even a bucket bath.
Yeah.
It was 2 weeks.
Mine's just 10 days straight without nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's brutal, man. Hey,
but you just do a little like rinse off. And add some water in your face.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question comes from Coco_Pinches. This person says, how old is Phoenix and how did you come to be her owner/dad?
She found me in a dumpster at work. So that was 7 years ago. So she's 7. And somebody dumped a litter of kitties in our dumpster. And I saw her, and I never wanted a cat before. I never liked cats. And then I saw her, and I was like, we're gonna be, this is the best decision I ever made. She's like my best friend. So
Oh, so cool.
yeah.
And how did you come up with the name?
Phoenix, it's just she looks like a phoenix from Harry Potter, like her pattern, and also it's like she was reborn. You know what I mean? She went from the dumpster to living a good life. So I liked the concept of the phoenix being her name because she like embodies it.
It's a great name.
So and then it also like I named my boat after her for the same reasons. One, I love my cat, so I named my boat after her. But that boat to me is the same idea. I was reborn when I bought that boat.
From the ashes.
Yeah, from the ashes, and life is
I
completely
love that.
different.
I got chicken skin thinking of that. Awesome. Also, if you're going to be here, you got to learn the local lingo. So chicken skin is like how we say goosebumps.
Yeah, I figured.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot more you can learn.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot.
All right. Once you learn some pigeon words, you're going to be really confused.
Yeah.
You're like, why are they saying choke food?
Yeah.
Do you know what that means? Choke is a lot.
A lot?
Yeah, not actually choke.
I've had people come up to me like, you're a hammer.
Yeah, hammer.
Hammer. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Hammer is just like a beast. Like,
yeah.
Oliver, this guy just sailed across the ocean. That's one hammer.
Yeah, it's sweet.
All right. Next question comes from Aaron M343. This person says, do you use any wristband or a patch or... Do you use any wristband or patch for seasickness? What is the secret?
There is no secret. Like seasickness gets anybody at any time, and it's random. And I did take for the first 5 days. I took seasickness pills, and but the problem with it is it like makes you super drowsy. So I stopped taking it, and then I battled seasickness most of the time. But I figured out that it was like self-induced for some of it because like there was the morning when I would get seasick. I made a connection. It was the mornings that I would drink coffee and not eat anything other than like a piece of chocolate. And then those days I would get like seasick. And so I changed my pattern and I would wake up, stop drinking coffee, and I would just put a reasonable amount of food in my body and then I would be fine. But it happens to anybody at any time. There's, it's one of those things where there's no way to like, it just happens sometimes randomly. And then some people get it, like I never got like, immobilized, seasickness. Like I was like, I never threw up, but I was like always, felt really sick and nauseous. But some people get it so bad, like that can also be a detriment to a solo sailor because if you get it so bad where you're like constantly throwing up, you're losing all your liquids, and you're alone. And when the boat needs to be managed, you can't manage the boat because you can't get out of bed. And that could be a problem for sure.
Wow. So all these other factors that us as normal people don't even think of, right? All right. Next question comes from J.D. Aldrin. This person says, what was your least favorite recurring thought you would have on your journey?
So when I went viral, I literally was like, dude, it was like a problem. Like I literally was like, I don't know what it's called, but like, when something really good happens, something really bad happens. So like, this was like like a dream. You know what I mean? That happening was like a dream. And so I literally was like, well, I'm gonna like die. Like, so the whole time I'm like, dude, I was paranoid that I'm gonna like die.
Like Final Destination.
I'm like gonna fall. The whole time I was like, dude, I'm just gonna clip in all like in my head before I would leave the cockpit. It was like I would like on repeat, like clip in. Like I'm not dying. You know what I mean? And but yeah, that was the thing that was like obsessively on my mind because like Yeah,
it's normal thoughts.
Yeah.
All right. Next question comes from Beach_Pebble. This person says, "Are you happy?"
Yeah. Like I'm a normal person, so like I have doubts and I have bad days and I have worries and I have stresses and sometimes I allow too much of it in. But then, like, I always try and like think back to where I was, and it was like, dude, I'm very happy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm loving my life. I've got the coolest life in the world. And all it takes is just a quick reminder to think of like how bad it can get, how miserable, how depressed you can get, and dude, I look around and it's like, dude, I'm in Hawaii. I sailed to Hawaii, and So yeah, I am happy, but I am human, so I do have unhappy moments for sure.
Yeah. Now that you're here, man, I gotta get you on some real good stuff here. Like,
Yeah.
You talk about like early on about like you're depressed and all of that and whatever. There's just one thing that I do called Brain Health Hawaii, where basically they do a brain map of your brain and they see like what's firing and what's not. They can see past concussions. A lot of athletes go to
Cool.
it, and so you go for these daily touch-ups, and it like starts firing like different parts of your brain to make you like more optimal.
Yeah.
And it helps with sleep as well. Like I was diagnosed with, I did a sleep test, stuff like that. So super cool.
Yeah,
Like
it'd be interesting to check out. Yeah.
Cairo, massage, like, yeah, we're gonna take care of you out here.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Next question comes from this Dessert Tray 5. This person says, "What will you do differently on your other long voyages that you wish you did coming to Hawaii?"
More food. Bring way more food. Like I thought I brought a lot of food, but clearly I didn't. I've had plenty of food, but I didn't bring enough easy food to eat. You know what I mean? Because the boat rocks so much, it gets so crazy. Half the time you don't want to cook, or you can't cook. And I ran out of all my quick food, all my easy food really quickly. And so all I had left was like food that I had to cook. And then at one point I fell and I hit my gimbaled stove.
Oh, yeah.
And it bent it. So like the stove, it gimbals so you can cook as the boat rocks, but it would gimbal and then get stuck. The boat would rock the other way and it would stay stuck, and then it would release.
Oh.
And so like boiling water would get everywhere. And so at one point I was like, I literally was just getting like soup cans and the soup cans had mold all over them.
Oh, gosh.
And dude, it's brutal. And I had nothing good to eat, nothing at all. So I was getting these cold soup cans with mold all over them and just drinking them out of the can. And so that was brutal. I'll completely change the food plan.
I saw one day you tried to make a spam musubi.
Oh yeah,
or you ate some spam.
Yeah, I ate some spam.
Was that because you were coming to Hawaii? Did you know about the spam?
Yeah,
musubi
I knew about the spam.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's like an easy food. It's not like boiling water, so I could have the stove running and I just had to.
Yeah. Have you had spam musubi?
Yeah, I had. Yeah.
Okay, cool. There's some good.
Is there a place to get it?
Oh, 7-Eleven.
I know, but like, is that's your traditional?
No, there's like really good place.
Okay. I want to go to a really good place.
I got you.
Cool.
You gotta get out of Waikiki. You gotta go to the local mom.
Well, I got a car now, so
I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up.
Places, cool.
Hawaii eats the most spam out of anywhere in the nation.
Oh, really?
But it's not made here. It's made in Minnesota.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, super random. Okay, next question comes from Hales 808. This person says, "Have you got to experience going to the lo'i or doing anything with Hawaiian people?" Lo'i is like a taro patch. Do you know what taro is? It's it's like a starch that we eat, like a potato, but like it's purple, and I'll show you after.
Yeah.
But basically, in Hawaiian culture, we have a connection to the taro plant because there's a story of it, how there's a stillborn child that was buried, and through that sprouted the first taro. So when we go to the lo'i, it's one of our staple foods. It's like a mud patch, and you can like work. So that's what she's talking about.
Yeah, I haven't done a whole lot just because like I've been trying to it's hard because like managing the boat is a lot of work, and it's I want to see everything. So I'm just trying to find this balance of how I can start to see everything and still manage the boat and still post on social media but yeah, I want to see. I mean, the goal is to see. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, everything. You're in no rush. You're here for a little
exactly.
bit at least. So, eventually he will. Yeah, I got a really good spot if you want to check it out. I do. When I came back from the Peace Corps, I used to volunteer there, and that was like very transformational for me.
Yeah, cool.
Just like to be, in earth and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cool. And the people there are great. Have you tried Hawaiian food yet?
Yeah, it's good.
What like Hawaii food or Hawaiian food? Because there's a difference. What did you have?
It's Hawaiian food. I think it was Hawaiian.
Well, what was it?
It was like a plate with like, it had, short ribs.
Okay. Like a plate lunch. So that's Hawaii food.
Hawaii food.
Yeah. So Hawaiian food, like traditional Hawaiian food, is like lau, poi, kalua pig.
No, I haven't had.
Okay, yeah. So that's something like.
I love food too.
Yeah,
dude, I love food.
There's some good spots.
Yeah, all right.
I'll tell you.
Cool.
But that's the interesting.
I've been trying to find, dude. It's like it's hard to find like because I want to only eat like at cool places. You know,
Well,
I love food, dude. Like
you got the connect.
Yeah, sweet.
I got you.
Cool.
Yeah. That's what you'll see more as you like stay here, is that how there's like this Hawaiian culture, and Hawaii is like so separate from the US. I mean,
Yeah.
well, even from our history of like being overthrown.
it's like
and
being
like,
in a different country.
it's
like it
totally
feels like
yeah.
being in a different
It's like
country.
really not the
Yeah.
US.
Yeah.
We have our own culture,
Yeah.
our own food, and a lot of misconceptions. You know, of
Yeah.
like Hawaii food and Hawaiian food.
Yeah.
And I'll
Yeah, I
explain it
didn't
to you
know that.
after.
That's
There's a lot to
interesting.
be
Yeah.
educated
Yeah.
on, even with our Hawaiian language and
Yeah.
all of it. Yeah. So eventually you'll learn that. Okay. Next question comes from AA_Yana. This person says, shout out to you, Aaron. I know who that is. What was the number one thing holding you back from sailing to Hawaii, and how did you overcome it?
You know, well, just like fear, and like fear of like quitting my job, fear of, you know, the dangers with my neck, fear of the dangers of crossing an ocean, fear is the overall, and like conquering my fears has been like the thing that's completely changed my life. Like just going through it, and just because, you know, this fear doesn't go away. The fear stays. If anything, once you've taken the leap, the fear increases. And but like it also, like it's like a driving force as well, because once you cross that point of like no return, that's when it's like game on. You know what I mean? That's what I like tell people too, is that there's like this point, if you're whatever it is you're trying to do, and whatever, like in my experience, there's a point, and that point was of no return was quitting my job, my career, and then liquidating my 401k. That is the point of no return. And as soon as you cross that point, it is game on, you know? And that is so, like, if you're in, you know, if somebody's trying to do something, whatever it is, it's just recognize the point of no return and cross it. That's the goal.
Yeah, there's so many beautiful things on the other side of fear. Yeah, and especially when we talk about like anxiety, that like feeling that we have, it's like it's all about stuff that hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah,
you know, anxiety is this fear of the future. Yeah,
dude,
that's all it is.
That's so, like, the first time I tried to do this, the reason I couldn't do it is because I would think too far ahead. And what I learned was, so it's literally one step. What's the problem I have immediately in front of me? Well, at the time, the problem, I didn't have a boat. So, okay, nothing else matters. Get the boat. I got the boat. How do I live on the boat? You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, how do I work on the boat? Okay, work on the boat. I don't know how to sail. Okay, learn how to sail. And then, like, you just focus on the immediate problem in front of you, face it, solve it, and then what's next? Face it, solve it, and then you just take it these little steps. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then sure, all of a sudden you'll be like in Hawaii. You know what I mean?
Exactly, as simple as that.
Yeah. So that's the way I had to approach it, was because, dude, everything was so. I'm like an idiot, dude. Like I am an idiot. Like, I'm not smart. I'm not any of the things. But it was just one step at a time was how I was able to like manage it without psyching myself out.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're smart enough to go on this path, so
Yeah, well.
yeah. And the cool thing about like anxiety and nervousness is like there's no physiological change in your body when you're excited and you're nervous. It comes from like that same part of your brain. So just flipping it, that's what worked for me. Instead of like, oh, I'm kind of nervous to do this. Oh, I'm so excited I get to do it. I'm so excited I get to quit my job and sail across the world. Like, just flipping that perspective is a huge change.
Yeah.
Okay, last question comes from Madison. This person says, how do Oliver and Phoenix sleep? I need to know if they cuddle or sleep separate.
When it's cold, we cuddle. When it's warm, she sleeps separate. So
makes sense.
Now that I've got the AC on the boat, it's been awesome because I feel like I've missed my cat because it was been warm on the boat and she wasn't sleeping next to me. So now I've got the AC and it's super cold, and it's intentionally cold so she can sleep next to me.
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
All right, mahalo everybody for the social media fan questions. Make sure you leave some for our next guest, and maybe your question will make it on the podcast. All right, we're coming to the back end of the podcast. I know you guys gotta head out here. Also, real quick before we get into these next questions, shout out to Skylar.
Yeah.
Because I know the people behind the scenes don't get enough credit for what they do. Yeah. And he's just been such a good friend to you. I mean, I seen him at the opening just running around, doing all the things, so that, you know, you didn't have to worry about that things because you had enough to worry about.
Yeah, no, he's handled everything. Yeah. So, like when I went viral, I knew I was like missing opportunity. I'm in the middle of the ocean, so I'm like, I can't like deal with it. And I've known him since like, I don't know, we were in like 8th grade. And I for his career, he had done basically everything social media. So I just like, I went viral. I hit him up. I was like, dude, would you be able to help me? He was like, yep. And so yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. Just wanted to give him his his flowers.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so at this point, I ask all of my guests the same question about keeping it aloha. That might not mean a lot to you right now, aloha and all of that, because you're still learning. So what I want to do is I'm going to ask you to answer this right now. And maybe, in a couple months or so, I want to ask you again and see how your answer changes, okay? So I like to ask all of my guests, what in their life, how do they keep it aloha? And I can explain it to you if you don't know.
Yeah, explain it to me.
Okay, so aloha, it's more than just a word. You hear it as like hello, goodbye. But in the Hawaiian language, things have multiple meanings, So aloha is, you ever heard of the aloha spirit?
Yeah.
Okay, which is like kindness, compassion, love. So the direct translation of aloha is love.
Yeah.
But there's so much more than that,
Okay.
So keeping it aloha, or like aloha to a lot of people mean different things, So for example, like I say aloha is like kindness and compassion, and sometimes it means patience. So it's always changing with whatever is going on in my life. Some people say like seeing somebody do something really nice, to like giving a homeless person a musubi, that's aloha. Helping somebody, whatever. How we greeted you when you came here, that's showing a lot of aloha, love. So if that makes sense. So I guess in your life, how do you like show that aloha? How do you keep it aloha for?
I think like just like deleting ego. You know what I mean? Not having ego as you walk through life, because ego is the stem of like all bad things. You know what I mean? Like ego's not good. So I think just if you remove ego from life, one, I think doors open, and then you treat everybody better. There's no if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And another way to think of it is like aloha is colorblind. Aloha is like doesn't care about your status. Just like the ocean, right? The ocean don't care if you got thousands of followers, millions of followers, dollars, whatever it is, you're liked or not liked.
Yeah.
Same with aloha. I think aloha's just, it's there.
Yeah.
And we just have to, do our best to just accept it for what it is, and give it when we can.
Yeah.
And so I know.
If you approach every conversation with people that you meet, or like a homeless person, or like somebody's, if you just remove ego from the conversation, you see, you're not like focusing on yourself and how you're being perceived. You're focusing on the person that's right in front of you. And I think those goddamn good answer.
That's aloha, Oliver.
Cool.
You embody aloha already without even knowing it.
Thanks, man.
All right, so just continue to live with aloha. And I'm gonna ask you in a couple of months, like how it's changed.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. All right, so this is another question I love asking people. What is something you wish people knew about you that they don't?
What is something I wish people knew about me that they don't? I like, well, I don't know.
What do you think they misunderstand about you?
I think people think I'm really smart and stuff. Like I literally was in like from first grade to senior in high school, I was in special ed. Nobody knows this, but I was in special education the whole time. I had like an IEP. Like I can't. That's where it's like, if like one of the things that stopped me from going was the self-doubt. Like I'm not smart enough to do the things. I'm not I can't do it, And I want people to know that like I am an idiot, and but I say that because like literally if I can do it, anybody can. I promise anybody can do it. And
okay, so you lied.
What?
Because you said you weren't special.
No, I'm not.
But you were special ed.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You gotta be a little special.
I was special. Yeah, I am special. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so.
I think you don't give yourself enough credit. I think that's a confidence issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's like, I like to keep myself centered and real. Like if I start all of a sudden being like, yeah,
Yeah. Well,
like,
I mean,
you know what
control
I
that
mean?
ego, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to. You
So
want
I
to
think
be
it's-
humble.
I want to be
but-
real. It is what it
Yeah.
is. What it
Yeah.
is, man. Like I wasn't in special ed through the entire. I barely graduated high school. I could barely read or write. I've read one book in my entire life. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. And like, I don't know. That's what it is. So like, because especially in the world of like sailing, everybody, all these sailors and stuff, that a lot of them are very like posh and very, very intelligent. And they say all these crazy things, and it could go like that for any area, whatever your like dream is. You know what I mean? Like you could see these other people that are living your dream, and you're like, oh, I can't think like that. But there's no rules, man. There's no rule. You could just wing it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Be safe.
Figure it out as you go.
Yeah, just go do it in your own way. You know what I mean? Do what works for you. Like there's systems that I have in place that I do that like it works for me. You know what I mean? And it's crazy for someone else.
Yeah,
But, you know. So just do what works for you.
Very true.
Yeah.
All right. So, what would you say you're most grateful for?
I don't know. Like I am incredibly grateful for my neck. Because I don't know that without it, I would be here. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have had it's the thing that really gave me the courage to just go for it. You know what I mean? I'm super grateful for the like the suffering and the grind. And because that I think that like molded me, like it just really molded me to I'm just grateful for the past year, all of that work and that, and the grind and the suffering and my neck. And, obviously incredibly grateful to everybody here in Hawaii that's given me the craziest welcoming, like totally out of a dream welcoming and stuff. But yeah, I'm grateful for my neck. And like, you don't need I wish it didn't take my neck to like chase this dream, you know what I mean? But unfortunately it did. And I hope that other people can see this, I don't know, story and like realize that if you don't have you don't need a condition to go out and just go all in and chase your dream. I don't know if that's corny or whatever.
No, sometimes we need a catalyst to push us in that direction.
But you don't need it.
But but you're saying that try to do that without having
because it'll come. The catalyst will come.
Yeah. That awakening or whatever it is. Yeah.
But
you're gonna write a book, right?
No, I can't read, man. I can't even write. I can't read my own handwriting.
I'm about to publish a book soon.
Are you? Cool.
Yeah. You should publish a book.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day. I don't know.
No, I could get you a book in like a week.
Yeah. No. Well, I gotta go around the world first before I'm writing.
You could do one for every section.
Yeah. I don't know. There's the problem with all this stuff is you only have so much bandwidth to give, and managing a boat, working on the boat is a lot of bandwidth. Doing social media is an insane amount of bandwidth. And then you add on top of that, coming out and doing like a podcast, you've got all these other
merch
bandwidth things.
Stuff, yeah.
And what that does, it pulls away. Like I have to be able to isolate, you know what I mean? And do that. I couldn't have done what I've done without complete isolation. So I have to be prepared to just completely isolate. And I have to focus on what's my goal, what's my dream. It's sailing around the world. So my dream isn't to make a book, but if I sail around the world, who knows? Once I've achieved the dream, maybe at that point I can change I can focus on other things, So right now it's important that I focus on the dream. I don't get, because I've got all these. It would be so easy to get distracted by all the things that are around me.
The shiny things.
I'm in Hawaii. Everybody wants to take me out on their airplanes and their helicopters, and which I'm gonna do that for sure. Because
he's not saying no to that.
Yeah. Keep those offers coming. Yeah, I want to go on a helicopter and fly around the islands for sure. But and I can. Yeah, it's just it's just important to stay in my lane, you know what I mean?
Totally.
And do what I want to do, because it's easy to get distracted, especially now more than ever. And I'm just very aware of that reality, and I do not want to slip into it.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's a part of like the beautifulness of like how I went through that like party phase. Like if I hadn't gone through that phase, I'd probably be I'll probably be just partying like crazy.
Bottle service
Yeah.
at District every single night.
Yeah, exactly. And like, but I experienced that. I know what comes from, nothing good comes from that at all.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to have experienced it because it's given me, I guess, like, wisdom in a way to be able to handle what's coming. So if that meant long-winded and stuff.
No,
but
that's great. I love that. I'm gonna blow your mind after I'm gonna talk to you off this podcast.
alright.
Just, I think like once you get to this certain point, you got to scale and like build a team and stuff. I'm gonna blow your mind with
All
this.
right.
So I'm not gonna share it on the podcast. Okay. All right. So I want to start to wrap up, but I want to know is there anything else you want to share about your story and just like maybe some advice to people, some words of wisdom you can share before we wrap up?
Yeah, I don't know. Like this, I've kind of sprinkled some stuff throughout the thing, but I don't know. Just it is possible, and I think what like deleting ego is really important. Because like when I was making the leap, I think we're all trapped in this like ego world, and like what's the standard is the standard is getting crazier now with social media because now the standard is you got to be a millionaire and you got to have the car and you got to have the girl and you got to have the you got to have all these you got to go to the gym and get ripped. All of that is bullshit. You don't have to do any of that shit. So if you remove the ego and you remove like when I was getting the boat, one of the things that was preventing me from doing it was my ego because it was like, who's ever gonna want to date a bum? I'm just gonna be a bum on a boat, you know what I mean? And I'm just gonna be a loser. I'm gonna be so poor too. Like I was so poor. Like I was eating just rice every day, and
Hey, I love rice. That's rice right here.
yeah, but dude, every day, like that's it.
Rice is life.
Yeah, it worked. It worked. You can live off rice and beans
Yeah.
because I did it. And
Same here.
but like it's deleting ego, deleting those thoughts don't matter, and we're like the world puts that in our head that's something there's no rules. You know what I mean? There's absolutely no rules. Just do what you want to do, and do it with with who you are. You know what I mean? Just be weird, whatever. If you're awkward, lean into it.
Embrace
what I
it,
mean?
yeah.
Lean into it.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Great. That was beautiful.
Cool.
That was beautiful. All right. Before I let you go, I got to know, what is your life hack? Were you able to think of one?
Yeah, it was the ego one. It was
Oh,
the
okay.
I didn't know you would
perfect.
ask the other question.
Oh,
so
okay. That was perfect. That was perfect.
It was
yeah.
the ego. Yeah, a life hack is eliminating ego.
Great.
And your life will change forever.
Awesome.
So,
All right. These are my last fast fave 5 questions. These are rapid fire answers, okay?
Mhm.
Favorite boat snack?
boat snack.
Yeah.
It was these little. I bought a bunch of food to like experimental food, like for entertainment, and I got this like tin clams, and it was like in some sauce, like spicy sauce. It's my favorite one. I only had like 2 of them.
Okay,
So,
well,
but it was
whoever
my
makes that, go sponsor and give us some free
Yeah.
stuff. All right, favorite guilty pleasure?
guilty pleasure. I don't know, like okay, like
Steak.
no, like this might sound weird, okay, but like how like some animals and like cats or dogs have they're like the wet cold nose.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You like touching it?
Yeah, dude. I get in there, man.
I get in there.
Yeah, that's like, dude, that's my
No, there's no greater
that's my
joy than that.
jam, dude. That's yeah.
Hey, we all got the things we love.
Yeah.
I love sports. You love the wet dog
wet nose.
and the cat nose.
Yeah. Wet cold nose.
Wet cold.
There's
cold.
nothing in life
Specifically cold.
that's greater than that.
I love that. All right. Favorite thing about Phoenix?
A wet nose. She
She got the wettest, coldest nose of them all.
my favorite thing about her is that she was feral when I got her,
Uh-huh.
and it's taken years to get her to turn into a normal cat. And like, so the first 2 years I had her, she absolutely hated me. Like I was like 6 months, she didn't come out of my like spare room, and she just hated me. And it's been so cool. Like year over year over year, she's become like we've built this crazy like bond year over year over year, and now she's like, I don't know. It's been a really cool journey that we've had, and that's my favorite part about her, because it's not. I don't know. It had to earn her trust over years. You know what I mean? So that's been cool.
She's been with you from the beginning too.
Yeah, every day.
When you had nothing and when you're building your empire.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, favorite TV show or movie?
I don't watch a lot of TV or movies.
Do you have like a favorite of all time?
Favorite movie?
Harry Potter.
No. I'll think of something here. I'd say my favorite movie, I think, is, I don't know. I really like Werner Herzog movies. So like The Cave of Forgotten Dreams is just a really cool movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, you should watch it.
I'll check it out,
dude. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Here's a fun fact: there's cave paintings in the world, somewhere in the world. I can't remember where it was, but there's cave paintings that were painted by not humans. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
Neanderthals.
Yeah.
They're not human, and they
Or like-
they're literally not human. And they painted, you could see their art on the wall. That's such an insane,
Yeah, so
crazy
that's in the
thing.
movie?
Yeah, it's in that
Okay,
movie,
well,
yeah.
I mean, same
And
as
the
like,
way he described it, like, he's a really good, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Filmmaker or whatever. And the way he, like, describes it. Anyways.
I'll check it out. Pyramids are aliens too, by the way.
Yeah.
Just saying that. Okay, and last one. Favorite person that followed you? I know you probably got some like people that followed you, like celebrities that you're just like tripping out.
There's two people. One,
Yeah.
well, I'd probably say, like, as far as, like, the celebrity realm would be, like Bill Burr. The comedian Bill Burr. Like, he's like my favorite, like,
That's so
my
cool.
favorite comedian. Like, yeah, that was really cool. And but also nobody will really know him unless they're in the sailing world. But John Kretschmer, who's like an ocean crossing like legend and like a really good author, he followed me.
That's
which is
awesome.
it's like a living legend that followed me, and which is weird because like I feel like he probably sees my stuff and he's like, dude, this kid's an idiot. You know what I mean? But
He follows you for a reason though.
yeah, let's just see if I make it or not.
Yeah.
No, but he's like I've listened to his audiobooks. And he's just like a legend. And so
Okay.
that when I saw him follow me, I was like, dude, that's so cool.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we got for you today. I'm excited to see you on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah,
one
yeah,
day.
yeah.
That's gonna happen.
Shout out Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan, he
Yeah.
watches this, so Joel, get him on.
Yeah, clip it.
No, but seriously, I hope this was a good warm up until you get to Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna happen, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
watch it. He's my
see.
favorite podcaster.
Is he? Yeah, he's good.
I based my style, everything off Joe Rogan.
really?
So
Oh, cool.
I love Joe.
Yeah.
But that's all we got for you. Mahalo for coming in, sharing your thoughts. I'm really excited to follow your journey. Is there anything else you want to share? If not, tell us where we can find you.
No, I think we covered it. Some podcasts are tough because I feel like, I leave a lot of stuff out. I think this is like my third or fourth podcast, but like sometimes I feel like and I think about it later. It's like, oh, I wish I said that, but
That's how it is with life.
Yeah, but I don't know why I said any of that just now. But the answer to your question is nope.
No, just keep following him.
Yeah. Don't let it.
And enjoy your helicopter plane ride, whatever.
Yeah.
Please don't die. We hope to see you again.
Yeah.
At least survive until this episode comes out. So we gotta donate the proceeds to Phoenix.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, mahalo.
It'll be a
Oliver.
good episode though. If I do go down, this will be the episode.
I'd rather not get the clout for this.
Yeah.
I'd
And
rather.
dude, you have my permission.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'd rather take a living life than followers and views.
I appreciate it, man.
All right, mahalo Oliver for joining us on the Keep It Low podcast. Spread love, be kind to one another, and mahalo for listening to us today. We have new episodes every Thursday, so make sure you follow us and leave a review. I'm your host Kamaka. Remember to always keep it aloha.